Alright, we're back.
Hello.
Hi everybody.
And welcome back.
We are back with another video. We actually got a couple requests to do a video on our relationship and our dating relationship. So we are going to do that for you.
Story time.
Story time with Titus and Fanny. We'll get going.
2015 was when we first met. We met at camp on...
How old were we?
You were 15.
I was 15.
I was 16. Cool fact, I'm a year older than he is.
Yeah. I got an older
woman. Right now,
woman.
I am 2 years older.
She's 2 years older than me for another couple days until my birthday, so I've been flaunting that fact as much as I can.
Yeah, because he likes to call me old and decrepit.
I do not call you decrepit.
That's what you imply.
I just call you old. Alright, so we met in 2015. I was 15, she was 16.
We met on a program called Teens Entering Active Ministry. I went first session, he went second session, so we didn't see each other there.
It was at a camp up in northern Wisconsin called Camp Chautauqua.
So we went and did the team program. We didn't know the other, but then at the end of those 2 weeks, they still have 2 weeks left of camp, so they call back people that do a good job of working. So both of us got called back because we're excellent people.
Yes.
So then we only spent I think we spent 1 week camping and 1 week working. I don't remember the camping.
No, I think I worked both weeks.
Maybe you worked both weeks.
I
camped
one week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked both weeks because I was like, sweet, another 2 weeks to work at camp. And it was really fun. On the program, you go and for 3 days, you have super intense Bible study, and you're basically in Bible study from the time you get up, other than meals, to the time you go to bed, with some activities intertwined in there. But then after those 3 days, for the next 2.5 weeks, basically, you get stuck into serving all the meals and all the guys do all the maintenance at camp, and the girls do all the cleaning. But anyways, yeah, so I worked both the reward weeks and she worked one reward week, which is when we first met. I didn't notice her till the weekend because, the first memory I have of us together was...
It was Friday night.
It was Friday night. And all of the team people had gotten together and we went out to the back 40 when they have this wonderful contraption called the pumpkin launcher. You had biked over as well. I think so. She was just sitting up on the bike. I just looked over and I was like, wow, she's a really pretty girl. And that's the first thought I have that I remember. I was like, wow, she's really cute. We didn't do a whole lot that year together because we kind of met each other at the end of the camp season.
My first impression is not as romantic as yours. I just did not like you. That was my first impression of you, that you were a very homeschooled person. I didn't really think you were cute or anything. I only lived 45 minutes from camp.
I lived 4 hours south of camp. So we split our ways at the end of the week. So then we went home and I went back to school and stuff. I had just gotten an email address right before camp had started that year because I was homeschooled. So I had just gotten an email address, so I was kind of into it and thinking it was pretty cool. So I emailed Fanny because I was like, she's really cool. I kind of want to get to know her a little bit. So I emailed her probably a month later, I think something
so.
like that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, hey, it's an email from Titus. I'm just the type of person that I will just immediately respond to an email. I get one, send it off that day or the next. So I did, and I was expecting him to reply within a week maybe. And a week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, and I'm like,
yeah, it was probably a month and a half or so before I responded back. I was good at checking it. I just didn't have a lot of time to go back and respond to stuff. So I was not in a big rush to answer you back. So we ended up emailing 5 times over the next...
And each time I waited for
7 months or so before camp started up again. 2016. We had camp again. She worked session 1, which was the 3 weeks before the session I worked before. So they had 2 sessions and we worked opposite again. We would go to a local church on Sundays as a teen group.
And my church.
And her church was pretty close, so we ended up going there for most of the time.
Right. So then I saw him on Sunday. He took my seat in church.
Which I did not realize at all. I just picked a seat. You go into the church building, auditorium or whatever, and you just look and you're like, that looks like a good spot to sit. So I sat there, which apparently was her spot. I have
like,
no clue.
It was our family pew, first of all, and then second of all, that was my specific spot that
So she was salty about
Yeah.
that. We camped one of the weeks together and then worked the second reward week. So we started getting to know each other a little bit better then. When you're at camp as a camper,
can't date. Which there's stipulations.
there's like certain rules on what you can do with the opposite sex, etc. But as long as you're not like in a one-on-one group with someone, you're fine. So her brother was camping the same week, so we just had him tag along with us the whole time, and he was our third wheel.
He was a trooper.
We went out to Culver's and had custard with our friend and another one of her friends. So that was our first time going out together.
We actually have a picture of that, which we'll insert.
We have a picture, I'll insert it right now.
And then we took one more last picture before we went home for the year,
Mm-hmm.
because we weren't going to be able to see each other for a while.
Yeah, so then we went.
You went home.
I went home and I convinced my parents to let me get Facebook. So I got Messenger probably less than a week after I got
that
home.
same day.
That same day I went home. And from that point on till the next year we went to camp, the next summer, we
missed a couple
messaged
days.
every day except a week in total that we didn't message once a day, if not more than once a day. So that's when we really started getting to know each other. Camp of 2017 is now where we're at. This was the year we both collaborated to work on the same session.
We ended up
We
getting
ended
called
up
back.
getting invited for the 2 weeks again. So that year was pretty uneventful. It was to the point, like at the end of that 2017, my family was like, would you please just get off the computer and spend time with us because you're messaging this girl like crazy. Which leads us up to February of 2018. We graduated that year, but February 9th, I called her father and talked to him for a while, and he said it would be alright if I dated her. So I called her up and asked her to date me, and she said yes. So that's when we started dating. So that summer we worked at camp, actually, while we were dating, but we weren't allowed to date while on
during the week.
During the week on program staff. So we
This
had to
was-
just kind of distance ourselves a little bit for camp. She was on the Wranglers with the horses, and I was working program staff, so we were separate enough departments, I guess you could say, that we didn't interact a huge amount, but we did have some interaction, which was nice. But we really got to know each other that summer. I made some really, really good friends that year. That kind of is that summer in a nutshell. We could go into a lot more detail, but it would be just kind of boring for you, I think.
During this summer, my family decided to move out to Montana. I was planning to go
college.
back to Montana.
And I was planning to go to college in West Virginia, which is, if you don't know, that's an East Coast time, and Montana is in Mountain Time. So that's a total of 2 hours time distance, or 2 hours of
Like
time zone difference, and 24 hours in distance away. So I did a year of school while you took a year off and worked in Montana.
Right, but it was still very difficult.
It was
because
really
you were
difficult
so
because the only
busy.
way, I was super busy with school. I was very involved in music programs.
But I didn't understand because I've
and
never
stuff.
been to college, so it was frustrating.
So it was frustrating for her because I was so busy. I did not have a lot of time to spend talking with her. She would send me letters and stuff, and I'm not much of a letter writer, so there was no response there. And we video chatted a little bit, but it was really rough. But I do think that really helped us build, a strong trust in each other, because being so far away, you really have to trust whoever you're talking to that, they're not messing around with other people, and that they really do love and care about you, and you really learn to be intentional about certain things and showing that you do love that person through the ways that you can.
So 2019,
I was still in school for the spring. I had joined 2 music groups which were gonna travel all summer long. So that was my summer. We didn't get to spend much time together, although she did come down and visit me once for my English handbell tour in Colorado.
When they were in Colorado, I came down to
She
visit.
came down to see that. So that was really nice to see her for that little bit of time. That was like 2 days, I think,
2
we spent
days,
together. Fast forward to the end of the summer, I decided not to go back to school because of finances. I needed to earn some money. So I decided to stay home, at which she decided to go to school. So we again moved. She moved to school in West Virginia, and I moved back home to Wisconsin. So we were only 1 time zone away, and still about 10 and a half, 11 hours away from each other. So it was a little easier on us, although I was working a factory job, so I was working first shift from 6 o'clock to 3, which sort of worked for talking a little bit, not a huge amount, wasn't
But
much
then
big
I was
improvement.
busy.
But she was busy with school, so we didn't talk much through then. Really, to be honest, through most of our dating relationship, we texted a lot. We didn't really talk a whole lot in like face-to-face much. We did a little bit, but it was a lot more texting.
It was like once or
Which
twice.
is surprising because like it's so easy to read into text and see things that are not there. And to be honest, like
I did so much of that.
I didn't struggle with that much at all. So I was kind of like looking back on it now, I'm really impressed that nothing ever happened really that ruined our relationship, because if I had read into stuff, I probably would have, I mean, it would have just have been a train wreck. So
Yes.
yeah, for us, we were long distance our whole dating relationship, except for a little bit, which we'll get to. This is my part, because this is proposing. So Thanksgiving was my decided date to propose. I knew she was gonna have Thanksgiving break, and I wanted her to meet my mother's side of the family, which lives in New Jersey. So I bought a ring and planned to, well, I went down and drove down to school to pick her up from Thanksgiving break and proposed.
I knew about the trip.
She knew about the trip, and she actually planned the day that I was gonna propose without me letting her know that it was what the actual plan of the day was. I proposed the day after I picked her up at this really, really pretty park in West Virginia, which actually I'll put some pictures up like right here probably as I continue talking about it. Super cool. She planned the hike and where it was and everything. Went out and visited my family, etc. We're engaged. Announced it to the whole family and everything. Fast forward a whole bunch. I went back to school in the spring with her as well. So we were both back together again.
For like the first
Of
time.
2020, hashtag coronavirus, threw a hitch in everything. We got sent home over spring break, which was a big deal because we didn't know what we were gonna do. We were trying to plan a wedding around school. And so she ended up coming down and living at my uncle's house in the basement there while we finished school out online, while planning our wedding, while not sure if our wedding was gonna happen because lockdowns were happening. So that was pretty intense. That was the little bit of time that we were close together, and I am very thankful that we were.
Yeah.
Because if we had been long distance over that whole period of planning the wedding and Corona throwing a hitch and everything, it would have been impossible, near to impossible to actually do. We had found a venue, but the only real hitch we had in our wedding plans was our venue canceled on us 2 weeks ahead of time because of like building restrictions for amount of people, and the church had decided that they didn't want over whatever the recommended number of people were. So we ended up having to find a new venue 2 weeks before our wedding was, well, it was like a week and a half almost.
Yeah, it was a week and a half.
Before the wedding. But that was really the only question
Like
we really
major,
had
yeah.
to the wedding, other than was it gonna happen, because Wisconsin was on a lockdown up until a
like
week beforehand of our wedding. So we threw up the idea of postponing it. It was super stressful. So anyways, we got married May of 2020, May 30th of 2020. We had the full-size wedding. We had everybody there that we had invited basically, which we were not expecting at all.
Yeah,
that was a
absolutely
huge blessing.
gorgeous day.
Had a beautiful day. We had my uncle's church was very kind enough to let us use their building for the wedding on short notice.
Yep.
So that was cool to see God provide there. Pricing wise, we did our wedding for under $5,000, which is pretty insane for today's day and age. We had over 100 people at our wedding, which, I mean, that's a pretty good sized wedding. But we could do a video on that if you want. Let us know in the comments, and we could possibly do that for you guys. But long distance, it's not for everybody. I will say that it can be extremely stressful, and you have to put in a lot of work to maintain it.
It does not come naturally.
Well, it can, but a lot of times it doesn't. But if you pray and you keep God at the center of your relationship, and just make sure you're trying to follow His will and just doing your devotions and praying and just doing the right thing day by day, and making sure that it doesn't become just you two as a couple, but that you keep God involved in there, your relationship will be fruitful.
And if you are in a long distance relationship right now, I am sorry, but it is not
You can
forever.
do it.
And you
I
can
promise
do
you can do it. Just keep sticking with it. And even through the rough times and the arguments, and you know, even if you need to take a break, we did that twice actually.
Yeah.
Where we were just like, you know, we need to stop, refocus our personal lives, and then we'll reevaluate once we get that in place. And that can be really, really helpful.
It was for us.
That's our story. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy our if you did enjoy our video, like this video, comment
Make
on
sure
it,
to
subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notified when we put new videos out. That's that. Also, update on our bus. We did not end up buying the bus that we were planning on getting. We decided against it on multiple factors. So we're back to square one on looking for one. We have possibly found another we're praying about, and we will find out if we are getting it later in the month. So we will keep you guys up to date on that. Hopefully we can get it soon. Again, thanks guys for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. I came to the deduction. No.
Just wait.
It's
More,
2018.
I have it.
Okay.
I have it all down. Nice.
So,